All right, y'all, welcome to the show. I got an amazing show lined up for you today. So in just a second, I have a new Epstein bombshell when it comes to Trump. I knew they had a close relationship. I did not know it was this close. I did not know it was this depraved. Wait until you hear what Trump was actually doing with Epstein. It's going to blow your mind, and it's going to make you think, why is everybody not talking about this? So we'll get into that in just a second. We also have a doctor on the ground in Gaza is giving updates. It's basically become a nightmare. It's become hell on earth. There are now waves of people who are dying from starvation because of what the IDF is doing in preventing food aid from getting in there. So just horrific, horrific news. I'll give you a bunch of updates there. Later on, we'll get to Alex Jones selling out to the deep state Epstein cabal. He is yet again coddling Trump's nuts. It is so humiliating how he basically goes crawling back on his hands and knees every time he slightly criticizes Trump. We'll also get to Tim Dillon, who also can't stop humiliating himself for Trump. And then later on, we have Mehdi Hasan calmly dismantles a bunch of MAGA fascists in a Jubilee debate. You don't want to miss that one. And we'll jump right into it here in just a second, guys. You guys know the drill. Everybody, please subscribe to the channel. That helps out big time and costs you absolutely nothing at all. And you, of course, can support the show on Patreon. That link is below. I've never talked to an advertiser. I'm very proud of that fact. I've never done an ad read. Super proud of that. You guys make this show work from the ground up. And as you all know, you can subscribe to Crystal Kyle and Friends on Substack. That link is below. We have a bunch of great interviews there and a bunch more coming up. You can also go subscribe to the Corin's World YouTube channel where we're dropping Kyle and Corin episodes. I believe we're going live this week as well, so you don't want to miss that. All right, now let's go ahead and dive into it, y'all. So I did a deep dive on Trump and Epstein over the weekend, and I already knew that they were close. I already knew that they were buddies. I already knew they hung out at Mar-a-Lago. I already knew they were best friends for over a decade. I already knew about certain women that said that Trump and Epstein played some sexual harassment or assault game with them, and they felt very weird about it. But I did not know how deep it really went. So let me walk you through this here. Now, let's start here. So the Democratic Senator Ron Wyden came out and gave a speech on the Senate floor, and he told us the following, that the Treasury's Epstein file details are as follows. There were 4,725 wire transfers, adding up to nearly $1.1 billion flowing in and out of just one of Epstein's bank accounts. Just one. So you want to talk about the Epstein list or the Epstein files? Dog. 4,000 potential lines of investigation right there. Right there. Okay, let's keep going here. So Mother Jones says, Epstein's little black book totals 97 pages containing 1,571 names and roughly 5,000 phone numbers. At least 38 names are mysteriously circled, including Donald Trump's. I got my hands on a copy, writes Leland Nally. I made close to 2,000 phone calls. So this was news that we had learned. I believe this is from a decade ago from Gawker when they did some reporting. But again, this is just laying out for you how vast and extensive this pedophile blackmail network is. All right, more. So when you go back and you look, there were some stories in around 2015, 2016, maybe as late as 2018, that really sort of blew the lid off of just how disgusting and depraved Trump is and what he was involved with. So here's one from the New York Daily News that says, Donald Trump hosted wild parties with sex, cocaine, and underage models. And they go on to explain that there's all sorts of allegations that are made, including from models as young as 15 years old, and that you have a bunch of people on the record saying Trump partook in a whole bunch of sexual things with these underage models at these wild parties that he threw. Again, you go back and you look at this and you're like, why was this not enough to derail this motherfucker back then? Now, with the Epstein stuff coming back up, we're revisiting this and going, holy shit, this is way worse than anybody thought. All right, more. So here we got a video. This is Trump and Epstein at Mar-a-Lago. Let's take a look.
Charges that Jeffrey Epstein was running a sex trafficking ring in the early 2000s that included underage girls as young as 14 years old.
Donald Trump in 2002 said of Epstein, he's a lot of fun to be with. It's even said that he likes beautiful women as much as I do, and many of them are on the younger side.
He routinely spoke fawningly of Jeffrey. He admired Epstein's lifestyle.
Your daughter, she's beautiful. Can I say this? A piece of it.
She's actually always been very voluptuous.
What does Tiffany have of Marlon's?
She's got Marlon's legs. We don't know whether or not she's got this part yet.
You were playing tennis and you came off the court. Quote, look at that piece of I would love some of that.
It so happened that Trump was referring to Cohen's then 15-year-old daughter, Samantha.
I had the impression that he was interested in younger women and that, women would age out for him.
Miss Teen Universe? Yeah, that's like giving Jeffrey Dahmer a cooking show.
I'll go backstage before a show, and everyone's getting dressed and ready and everything else. And I'm allowed to go in because I'm the owner of the pageant, and therefore I'm inspecting it. I standing there with no...
Donald Trump is heard making questionable comments about a young girl.
You going up the escalator? I'm going to be dating her in 10 years.
A lawsuit against the presumptive GOP nominee alleges he raped a girl when she was 13 years old.
Prince Andrew answering questions for the first time about his friendship with convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein.
I don't know Prince Andrew, but it's a tough story.
Trump has been photographed with Prince Andrew as far back as the year 2000.
Ghislaine Maxwell is accused of helping Epstein sexually abuse underage girls.
I've met her numerous times over the years, especially since I lived in Palm Beach, and I guess they lived in Palm Beach. But I wish her well.
You know about sexual predators and things like that. I mean,
You are one.
All right, I was going to say that. But it's true.
He shakes his head and says that's true when he's told he's a sexual predator. By the way, we brought this up on the show the other day, but there were allegations from a 13-year-old named Katie Johnson. I believe that's an alias that she uses, but she was going to do a press conference and sort of blow the lid off of all of it in 2016, and she got these immense death threats, and so she backed off at the last second. But there were a number of lawsuits filed against both Trump and Epstein by this Katie Johnson girl who was 13 at the time, who claims the worst imaginable crimes committed by Trump and committed by Epstein. But again, we're just getting started here. This is Epstein victim Maria Farmer, and she's going to lay out what Trump's deal was. He was flat out best friends with Jeffrey Epstein, but also one of Trump's wives, Ivana, was best friends with Ghislaine Maxwell, and she potentially was also involved in this child sex trafficking. Listen.
Ivana Trump was like her best friend.
And with
Ivana.
Yeah, with Ivana, then, I described that, she'd be there.
That was creepy. So at the time, Ivana had she was doing QVC, selling jewelry, right, online. I mean, on TV. She was like a QVC queen. Donald Trump. And Donald Trump was always hanging out with Epstein, and Ivana was always hanging out with Ghislaine.
Right.
And Ivana would say, we're going to go pick up Ivana, or Ivana's going to come. And we'd ride in the car with her. And I remember one occasion where Ghislaine's like, I have to get out right now. And she went and got a number from a child, and I saw in a uniform.
So Trump's wife, Ivana, said, stop the car now, in the car with Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell, went and got a phone number from a child wearing the school outfit. Oh, man. I don't think people are truly ready for how deep this story goes, bro. We're just scratching the surface. Wait until I drop the bombshell on you later in this segment.
Knew what they were doing. Everybody who surrounded them knew exactly what they were doing.
And but how often, did you go for rides often with her and Ivana?
Yes.
And would she pick up girls all the time?
Yes. She didn't bring them in the car. She would get their phone numbers.
Right.
But she would drive by schools.
Right. So
as they got out.
So would she? Yeah. And what's Ivana doing at this point? What
sitting in the car. And I'll never forget, because one day I was really weirded out by what had happened. I was really weirded out. So I'm sorry, my phone's beeping in. Just give it a second. But anyway, I got to go in a second. But I just wanted to tell you, I was weirded out when they were driving around with this. So Ghislaine just shut me up, gave me one of those cheap bracelets Ivana was selling on QVC, and said, Ivana wants you to have this. And I threw it in the garbage.
Wow. Here we have Trump giving the deposition for the E. Jean Carroll sexual assault case, and this is where he's asked directly about his famous moment on the Access Hollywood bus, where he says, I grab him by the pussy. You can do whatever you want if you're a star. Grab him by the pussy. I don't even wait. And listen to how unremorseful he is about that. Here we go.
And this has become very famous in this video. I just start kissing them. It's like a magnet. Just kiss. I don't even wait. And when you're a star, they let you do it. You can do anything. Grab them by the pussy. You can do anything. That's what you said, correct?
Well, historically, that's true with stars.
It's true with stars that they can grab women by the pussy?
Well, that's what it's. If you look over the last million years, I guess that's been largely true. Not always, but largely true. Unfortunately or fortunately.
And you consider yourself to be a star?
I think you can say that, yeah.
And now you said before, a couple of minutes ago, that this was just locker room talk
It's locker room talk.
And so does that mean that you didn't really mean it?
No, it's locker room talk. I don't know. It's just the way people talk.
Now remember, he had to pay out millions and millions of dollars over that case. All right, we have more. The Justice Department's bid to release Epstein's grand jury info comes with a huge caveat that it will seek to redact not just victim info, but other personal identifying information. So what this is referring to is Trump, under all this pressure, came out the other day and said, I'm calling on them to release the grand jury information. Pam Bondi, release that grand jury information. And so he's trying to clear his name by doing that. Except, what's the issue here? This is not the same as all of the files that the DOJ and the FBI are currently sitting on, that they could release at any time they want, number one. Number two, a judge obviously has to approve this, and they're redacting all this personal information. So, as Trump is trying to pretend like he's finally, allowing for some transparency, in reality, it's the exact opposite. He's burying it more and more. Okay, I got more for you. Here we have a former Sports Illustrated swimsuit model, Stacy Williams. This was her in February 2025. Here's what she said about her experience with Trump.
I'm considered number 27. I'm Donald Trump's 27th sexual assault victim. When I was doing Sports Illustrated, that's when he assaulted me. Jeffrey Epstein walked me into his office to be sexually assaulted by him.
Jeffrey Epstein walked this woman into Trump's office to be assaulted by Trump. Okay, more. Jeffrey Epstein accuser Maria Farmer told the New York Times she reported a troubling encounter with Trump to the FBI in both 1996 and 2006. She said the encounter happened in 1995. When Epstein summoned her late at night to his Manhattan office, she arrived in running shorts and Trump showed up in a suit and began hovering over her. Farmer told authorities she felt scared as Trump stared at her bare legs. Then Epstein walked in and told Trump, quote, no, she's not here for you. I think we all know what this is. I think we all know what Epstein was doing, and I think we all know what Trump was doing, and I think we know where that $1.1 billion in Epstein's bank account, why he got it, and where it came from. But I got more. This is Trump accidentally admitting that, yes, he is in the Epstein files. Listen closely.
They were run by Chris Wray, and they were run by Comey, and because it was actually even before that administration, right? They've been running these files. And so much of the things that we found were fake with me. And so much of the things that we found were fake with me. And so much of the things that we found were fake with me.
So much of the things we found in the Epstein files were fake with me. Accidentally admitting, yeah, I'm all over the Epstein files. In fact, he flagged the FBI and said, hey, you guys got to go through all the Epstein files and remove all of the stuff involving President Trump. This is from Midas Touch here. FBI agents told to flag mentions of Trump in Epstein records, says Senator Durbin. My office was told that these personnel were instructed to flag any records in which President Trump was mentioned. Gee, I wonder why. I wonder what they're going to do with those records. Tough one to figure out. Okay, now the story gets darker and goes deeper. Ready? This just came out. Trump hosted party for young women where Epstein was the only guest, according to the New York Times. Donald Trump once hosted a party featuring young women where Jeffrey Epstein was the only other guest, the New York Times reported over the weekend. In an article titled Inside the Long Friendship Between Trump and Epstein, Alan Feuer and Matthew Goldstein write that for nearly 15 years, the two men socialized together in Manhattan and Palm Beach, Florida, before a falling out that preceded Mr. Epstein's first arrest. Part of that article contains an interesting anecdote about the party. According to the report, when Mr. Trump hosted a party at Mar-a-Lago for young women in a so-called calendar girl competition, Mr. Epstein was the only other guest. The report cites George Horanay, that's too on the nose, a Florida-based businessman who arranged the event. Mr. Horanay recalled being surprised that Mr. Epstein was the only other person on the guest list. The report states, before quoting the man, I said, Donald, this is supposed to be a party with VIPs. Mr. Horanay told the New York Times in 2019, you're telling me it's you and Epstein? The article continues, Mr. Horanay's then-girlfriend and business partner, Jill Harth, later accused Mr. Trump of sexual misconduct on the night of the party. In a lawsuit, Ms. Harth said that Mr. Trump took her into a bedroom and forcibly kissed her and fondled her and restrained her from leaving. She also said that a 22-year-old contestant told her that Mr. Trump later that night crawled into her bed uninvited. How did we not know about this before? So Trump hosted a party for young women at Mar-a-Lago where Epstein was the only other guest. Are you fucking kidding me, bro? Are you kidding me? But it gets worse. So Midas Touch just this past weekend, they come out with this. Unearthed. Donald Trump judges the 1991 Look of the Year modeling competition organized by Elite Model Management. More on that in a little bit. Remember, Elite Model Management. Featuring participants as young as 14 years old. A 2020 Guardian investigation into Elite's Look of the Year competition uncovered allegations from former contestants and industry insiders that the competition was used by founder John Casablancas and others to engage in sexual relationships with vulnerable young models, some of whom were teenagers. So here's Trump, 1991, at this modeling agency event, staring at scantily clad 14-year-olds. Watch this. Here we go.
The 58 contestants participated in an exhaustive round of personal interviews designed to help our judges discover what makes each one special.
You're 5'9" reading? Serious, huh? We measure again tonight before the game. Okay. Thank you very much, Amy.
The concentration was intense inside the judging room.
What if they don't like you as you are?
And out.
I'm just so excited.
Each girl was considered not only for her beauty and poise, but also for her personality and that indefinable something extra that makes a top model.
Okay, you want to pull your hair back 1 second? Okay. All right. Thank you very much, Ingrid. Good luck for tonight.
Thank you.
When it came time to choose the 21 finalists, emotions ran high as each judge expressed his or her opinion.
So that is incredibly disturbing. But guys, remember I told you, remember the name of these modeling agencies that we're talking about here, because guess what? Trump Model Management. So he had his own modeling agency, Trump did. Trump Model Management was a front for international sex trafficking. Epstein got some of his victims through Donald, and they shared some too. Everyone knew. Articles were written about it in mainstream publications, and Trump shut down a Senate investigation during his first term. So here we go, a Forbes article. Trump involved in human trafficking, mafia matters, probable money laundering. That was one article. That's in Forbes. The Daily Kos has an article here as well. We all knew about the sex trafficking, the untold story of Trump Model Management. More. Senator calls for Homeland Security to investigate Trump's model agency. I am extremely concerned by the claims levied against Trump Model Management. Justice for Jane Doe's, Trump sex trafficking, and the writers who stopped writing about it. Holy shit. So I'll recommend for you guys right now, there's a Daily Kos article, which came out in 2016. Quote, we all knew about the trafficking, the untold story of Trump Model Management. Go read that, and your mind will be absolutely blown. We're talking about a situation here where, first of all, I mean, just stop and think about it. Imagine having a 30-something, 40-something-year-old guy, right? Imagine I went to Crystal, and I said, hey, Crystal, I got a new business venture that I'm going to do. I'm going to be the head of a teenage modeling agency where I evaluate the talent. Right off the bat, that's not one red flag. That's strike one, you're out. That's red flag on top of red flag within red flag. Because you know there's some sketchy shit going on. You got a 40-something-year-old dude, maybe even 50. I don't even know how old Trump was at the time, right? And you're looking at scantily clad 14-year-olds. And by the way, a lot of these women come from these very poor Eastern Bloc countries, and they come over here. They have no safety net, no protection from other family members, and they get absolutely taken advantage of by these wealthy businessmen. But this is what absolutely deserves an investigation. And this is why Trump is panicking about the Epstein files, because him and Epstein not only were buddies, Trump is not only on the Epstein list, they were business partners in human trafficking. That's the reality of the situation, y'all. And that's what nobody wants to say. All right, let me give you some more. They weren't just rich creeps. Trump, Epstein, and Casablancas, that's the guy with the other modeling agency, and Brunel were part of an organized predatory network of pedophiles, using modeling contests, private dinners, and fake opportunities to prey on teenage girls. Here's how they work together in plain sight. Let's start with John Casablancas, founder of Elite Model Management. That's the one that had the 14-year-old competition. Okay. Openly dated teenage models, ran Look of the Year contests worldwide. Many girls were underage. He admitted to sleeping with girls as young as 14. That didn't stop the parties or the business. Casablancas and Trump were close. They co-hosted private dinners where models were made to walk across tables so Trump could stick his head under their skirts. Casablancas bragged about letting Trump date his models. Trump even sent Ivanka to him for modeling at age 14. A prolific pedophile, and you send your 14-year-old daughter? Holy shit, this is dark. Casablancas wasn't alone. Enter Jean-Luc Brunel, another modeling agent with a long trail of rape and trafficking accusations. He ran Karen Models and later MC2, a front Epstein used to bring in girls. Let me repeat that. Here we have another member of this plot. Had his own modeling agency. Rape allegations, trafficking allegations. Ran these companies, which was a front used that Epstein used to bring in girls. One victim said, quote, Jean-Luc handed me over to Epstein like I was a toy. Brunel's ties to Epstein ran deep. Epstein funded Brunel's modeling agency. Brunel then supplied Epstein with underage girls, many from overseas. French prosecutors had multiple rape charges against him. He died mysteriously in prison of suicide, they say. This is where it gets even deeper, because as you know, there's a tremendous amount of evidence that Epstein was Mossad, which is Israeli CIA. So this isn't just an elite pedophile ring. It's an elite pedophile blackmail ring to get dirt on powerful people that can be used for political purposes, right? And so Epstein was involved in that. This other guy was likely involved in that too, because it's all part of the same network, right? And so this guy wound up dead by suicide, just like Epstein. Wow, what a surprise. Trump, Epstein, Casablancas, and Brunel were all connected, attended the same model scouting events, judged the same contestants or contests, hosted private dinners with girls as young as 13, traded girls across state and national borders. This wasn't random, it was coordinated. A 1991 Look of the Year dinner party makes it crystal clear. Trump and Casablancas sat side by side watching 15-year-olds compete. They told one girl to take off her jacket to show her body. Brunel was a fixture at these contests too. This was grooming, not modeling. Elite modeling, Trump models, MC2, Karen models, different names, same function. All four men used their agencies as pipelines to control, traffic, exploit young girls under the guise of fashion and fame. And here's Trump with his own daughter. God damn it, man. At this point, it's like you just got to feel bad for Ivanka, right? The shit she was probably fucking put through. If this involved just one man, it would be scandalous. But four powerful men did this together for decades. They built their reputations on exploiting teenage girls and protected each other at every turn. Only one is still alive, and that one is president, again. Little St. James wasn't the beginning, it was the destination. Trump, Epstein, Casablancas, Brunel each played a role in building the pipeline. Modeling agencies, teen pageants, scouting trips. Epstein Island was where the system delivered the girls. Survivors have said as much. So listen to what Trump said back then. Look.
You raised the question of Jeffrey Epstein in your remarks about in the Q&A.
Well, I think he's got a problem. I mean,
what do you think the problem will be?
I don't know, but that island was really a cesspool. There's
So he's talking about Bill Clinton here.
Question about it, just ask Prince Andrew. He'll tell you about it. The island was an absolute cesspool. So,
the Clintons are friends
and he's
of
been
yours,
there
right?
for many times.
Well,
I can't say friends, but I know
You're friendly. You know them.
They play at my clubs a lot.
So when it was politically convenient, oh yeah, Bill Clinton and Epstein, that's the real scandal. Look over there. Don't look at me. Look over there. Where are they now? Epstein, dead in jail. Brunel, dead in jail. Casablancas died of cancer in 2013, never faced justice. Trump, very much alive and running the country. Only one is still walking free, the one with the most power. Holy shit. We don't need to get into this one now, but there's another thread here which goes through Trump's history, his words, his actions, his associations, which make the connection for you as to why he is perpetually accused of being a pedophile. And it's not just the Epstein stuff. It's many other things as well. But as you can see here, I mean, this is an earth-shattering news story where effectively what we're learning is that the president of the United States was involved in an international sex trafficking ring. And that's why he's panicking. That's why he's losing it. That's why he flips out anytime anybody brings Epstein up. That's why he's trying to change the conversation to literally anything else, screaming about Rosie O'Donnell and changing the name of the Commanders back to the Redskins and talking about putting cane sugar back in Coca-Cola. This is why he's freaking out, y'all. Because he knows there is just a mountain of hideous atrocities that he's been a part of. So what I would say to all this is, Democrats, you better get your rear in gear and you better uncover all of this, because the rot goes so deep. And we don't care. If it happens to bring down Bill Clinton, we don't care. Bring that motherfucker down. Don't give a shit, right? The most important part is we need justice. Everybody's talking about just releasing the Epstein list. No, bitch, don't just release the list. Arrest the motherfuckers who were using Epstein services, right? That's the real goal here. And one of the people at the top of that list, it's a man by the name of Donald J. Trump. Hey y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop, and watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.